Today we talk about Darth Vader saying what, Borderlands is going to be how much, and what we thought of the latest Last of Us episode. All this and more. This is Nerds with Mics. Hello and welcome to episode 179 of Nerds with Mics. I'm Travis.
I'm Justin.
And yeah, today we got a good one for you. Jared is not joining us today. His work schedule got all messed up, so we're going to record without him. But yeah, it's going to be a good episode. So let's go ahead and get into it. But before we get too far, we always like to talk about what we have been up to. Justin, have you been busy, my boy?
Yeah, been really busy with work. And then over the weekend, we went to a Reds game and watched the Reds beat up the Guardians, which was nice. Then we went to Kings Island. And as we pulled into the parking lot, we looked at the lot and it looked pretty crowded. So we got the fast passes and we just walked on to every ride. So that was pretty cool. Had a good time doing that. The weather was really nice. Aside from that, haven't been playing a whole lot of games. I've been pretty busy, like I said. I did take your advice from last week, and I watched the 4 seasons.
Did you finish it?
Yeah. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
I will say, you alluded to a big twist at the end. And that night, I think it was that night, I was on Facebook, and it pops up. And it's like, the 4 seasons has been renewed for season 2. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Travis was just talking about that. And you know how like it previews like the top comment of like the post?
Yeah.
It said that.
Oh,
so
was
like,
this before? Okay. Was this before you got to that?
Before I ever even started the show. Yeah. I will say I'm glad I knew, because I think had I not had time to prepare, I would have been mad.
Yeah.
But like I anticipated this and I knew it was coming. The way they did that. Can we spoil it, you think, or no?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. You can, if you don't want to hear it, just skip ahead probably 3 minutes.
I love to spoil things.
Yeah.
So it basically said, the top comment was just like, I can't believe they killed Nick. To which my thought was, I don't know who Nick is. So I naturally go to IMDb, look at the cast. I'm like,
oh, so you did it to yourself.
Well, I knew Nick was I would have found out like the next day.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I did notice that in the very first episode, when they're driving down the dark road and they're like, turn your street light on, Tina Fey says like, one of you is going to die. And they make multiple references that he's going to die. Danny tells him that he has a May to December relationship, which is May is when they started. December 31st is when he dies. And there's another reference early on to him basically going to die. So they very much hint at it. Once you know, you realize, like, I would never have picked up on that had I not read that comment. But as soon as I read it and started watching, I started hearing these little hints that, oh, he's not going to make it.
Yeah.
There's another twist. I'm not going to spoil that one. Because no one's going to know anything about that at the moment, because I don't even know if that character is known to people who haven't watched it. But great show. We binged it. I loved it. The characters and the cast were excellent. I'm a big Will Forte fan of all the people on that show. I love Will Forte. He's so funny, and I like seeing him get like leading man work. So that was a really good role for him. And he got to continue his streak of like being a likable character. I liked Steve Carell's character, which he's meant to be, I think, like the more negative character on the show. But like as the show goes on, you realize they're all very much flawed people with their set of issues, and his just happens to be the one that we met first, you know?
Right.
And I thought that was a cool spin on the story. I like how they did not vilify the new lady. That often happens, but she isn't a villain and she shouldn't have been portrayed that way. So I thought that was good. But it was just a good show. I really liked it. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah,
Kayla loved it
too. Who did?
Kayla.
Oh, nice. I really liked the dynamic between the characters. I felt like they did a good job. Is it Coleman
Domingo?
Domingo was probably my favorite character. I think it's the first. I can't remember what else I've seen him in.
It was in a movie called Sing Sing that came out last year, but I don't think any of us
It's
saw
been
it.
on my to watch list. I didn't
I will
realize
see
that
it.
was him.
Yeah.
But we'll get into something else that I realized he was in after I had started it when I get into my week. But yeah, it's a good show. If you don't know, if you ever want to watch, so it's based off a book, but it actually was a movie with
Alan Alda.
yeah, from like the I want to say late 70s, early 80s, maybe. I
Yeah,
watched, but what is it?
he makes a cameo in this movie. In this show.
It does, and I watched the trailer for it, and it's funny how many different things that was included in the original movie that carried over into the show. Because obviously it's based off a book, but you sometimes wonder. But in the trailer, you can pick up a lot of the things from the show, which is pretty funny. So
Yeah.
I think Amelia and I may go back like one afternoon when we're bored and just watch the movie because it actually looks pretty funny. So
I think I want to watch the movie as well at some point. I do love that they've renewed it for a season 2 because I believe the movie and the show that we have so far are kind of in sync except for the death. But I do worry a little bit just how good will the second season be. I kind of feel like our characters' stories wrapped up for the most part. So will it be the same cast or will it be a whole new set of couples?
yeah, and it makes you wonder when they originally shot that show and they released it, did they already plan on doing a sequel or because it got like a warm welcome and like everybody like received it really well, do you think they just decided to try to do a season 2 or do you think it was already in the works?
My guess is they had a plan, but they probably weren't going to like they probably had a plan for a second season if it did well. And I'm sure, it's something they probably thought about at some point in the writing process, but I don't know if they were counting on it to actually happen. I do think
Right.
it's a pretty big hit though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's reviewing well and everybody I've talked to that's seen it seems to like it. I think it had a decent Rotten Tomato scores. I could be wrong though.
I'll look it up. 77, not bad.
That's,
Wow,
I
the
mean, that's,
audience score is 61. Who
I
knew that
wonder
people were dumb?
I wonder if it's the ending portion.
Maybe.
I will say, I'm going to stand up, which I never do because I'm at a different desk, so I have the ability to. I will say that. Did you watch the morning show?
I watched the first season. I know what happens to his character.
He can't catch a break. I tell you, he just
Now,
can't catch a break.
I will say he's coming out in another either show or movie from the writer from Succession on HBO.
HBO. I saw the trailer actually right before the latest episode. Well, I think the trailer has been on every episode of Last of Us in the beginning.
Yeah, and
Tech Billionaires or something like that.
Yeah, so he's playing another I'm not going to say his character on the 4 seasons was unlikable. I think at the beginning you did not side with him, but I think by the end you were probably more on his side than you were in episode 1 and 2, and 3. But he's playing these roles that are like douchebags,
I know. I tell you, like
in the morning show, he's basically Matt Lauer.
Oh, I know, which is it's crazy. But I will say the conversation. I mean, I didn't hate him through the whole season or whatever, so I don't want to say that. But what really sealed the deal for me was the conversation that he had with his daughter on the park bench towards the latter half of the season. I thought that was just really good dialogue between them. And I thought his acting was really good in that as well. But yeah, just overall, I thought the cast was great. But overall, yeah, I really liked this. So I'm glad you enjoyed watching it because I don't feel like I've recommended that many shows to you. So I'm glad you enjoyed this one.
I loved it. Yeah, cannot wait for season 2. It'll honestly probably be a show I watch again at some point before we get season 2. It's like a feel-good show too, for the most part. Like there's definitely turmoil and drama, and a major character death, as we discussed. But like it does have like a feel-good element to it, of just like friendship and bonds that are like consistent, that come together.
Yeah, and I feel like all the characters, regardless of where you are in your actual life, all the characters seem very relatable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A couple of times we'd look over and kind of like share a laugh, like, oh God.
I know. Even Amelia, like obviously my fiance, we're not even married yet, but like I was excited to watch this with her. And when I said, hey, we should watch this, she was like, oh, I actually just binged that last night. So we didn't get to watch it together.
Oh.
But when I started it, she said, as soon as I started to watch it, I had this deep-seated fear that I was going to turn into Steve Carell's wife, where she's just always on her device. And she was like looking at that stuff, and she was just like, please don't let this happen to us. And I was like, okay. But yeah, I think it makes it very relatable, and I really, really enjoy that, because you really get to see these different couples in these different stages in their life, right? Like, so yeah, I think it made it super relatable. But yeah, anything else?
A couple more things. Sorry, I took up a lot of time on that.
No, you're good.
The Last of Us, which I think we might talk about a little bit more when you get there, and then The Rehearsal. I mentioned it last week. Continues to crush it. It's hard. It's a hard show to recommend because it is very just weird and obscure, but I'm loving it. So that show, both that show and The Last of Us, in this weekend.
Which that's perfect. It sounds like you've had a busy week, but a good week.
Yeah.
I will say, you and I talked before we hopped on here to record, and you showed me a couple of clips to watch on YouTube from Nathan, the guy that's in, obviously, The Rehearsal. And from what I've seen so far, I'm going to follow your recommendation and at least watch season 2, episode 3. If I find that I like that, then I'm going to go back to the first season and see, and just take the ride with you. So
nice. Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's very weird.
Now, I will have to say, is every episode truncated to be its own thing, or is it like, is there a whole arch for every season?
So season 2, the arch is trying to improve pilot communications to reduce the number of crashes.
Okay.
He did do the research. He went through, he found X amount of crashes. He got the black box transcripts and audio, and found that there was either no communication during a disaster or dismissive communication from like the main pilot, right? Like the co-pilot would say something and the main pilot would say, basically, shut up, you're over there, I'm over here for a reason, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And planes would crash. And he's found that there's a big communication breakdown. And by doing all this, he's found that there's bigger issues, that like pilots cannot say that they are depressed or go see a therapist, because if they do, they run the risk of losing their license. They have to basically be perfect people all the time in the eyes of the FAA.
Wow, that's intense.
Yes. So it's like, there's a lot of like stuff to that, like that's very like serious and very interesting. And then he's got jokes and weirdness sprinkled in between to like kind of bring the point home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. There's some like really, like this last episode had to do with autism. And that's actually how he got a connection with a member of Congress, because he was trying to go before the Aviation Board of Congress. And he was shut down. So he found out that another ranking member was also a member of like the Autism Awareness Division of Congress. And he found that his show resonates with the autism community. So he went in and did a lot of work with that place to kind of build some clout. And then he went to that avenue, and it's a whole thing. I'm not going to spoil the whole show, but he does do a lot of good. At the same time, he's also trying to make and market a TV show.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Well, thanks for the context. I think that helps. All right. So for me, I watched the Rookie finale, which I know you don't watch the Rookie, but the finale was actually really good. I was surprised because this is the first season that came off the season where the writer's strike was, and there was only like 10 episodes. Mm-hmm. So I kind of had some concerns about this being the season after that, if it was going to be good. But this season was actually really good. Wrapped up very nicely for it wasn't a series finale, just a season finale as far as I'm aware of. I did watch The Last of Us, which we could talk briefly about here in a minute. I've still been dabbling. I've still been playing Wind Waker, which I know is something you're looking forward to when you get your Switch. Are you going to get, well, you still don't know if you're going to actually get your Switch on launch day yet or not, though, right?
I mean, it's going to be delivered on launch day. I just won't be home to get it.
Got you. Okay. And then I've still been playing Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which is good. If you haven't tried it out yet, it's on Game Pass. It's one of the coolest takes on a turn-based game I've played. It's a turn-based game, but it has dodge and parry mechanics built into it as well, which is not something you expect for a turn-based game. The parrying and the dodging happens in real time. So when it's their turn and they're getting ready to attack you, you have a chance to dodge or parry. If you parry, you obviously will do damage back to them. If you dodge, you obviously just don't take any damage. But the dodge mechanic isn't so cut and dry, and or the parry for that matter, because each type of enemy will have a different mechanic for dodging or parrying. So you can't just, it's not like an Assassin's Creed or a or what's the other game, like a Shadows of War, where you see like something trigger, or a Batman Arkham where you see something and you hit the button in time. It's kind of almost rhythm based.
Okay.
Almost. It's very interesting, but the story's really good. It's very French. The music is probably some of the best music I've heard in the game.
I've been
really
hearing that a lot.
Yeah. What's funny though is, so I think I may have mentioned it last week. Main character is voiced by Charlie Cox, which is obviously Daredevil, and then Andy Serkis is in the game as well. What I find to be very interesting is the story is something like I've never really seen before. It's very, very interesting. I don't want to say too much, but essentially there's this thing that shows up and there's a number painted on it. I want to say that it starts at 99.
Okay.
But essentially what happens is every year this character comes out called the Paintress, which they see from a distance, and they come down and they count down every year. But what happens is when that number counts down, so say, Justin, how old are you?
37.
37, right? So if it counts down and it counts down to 37, if you're 37, anybody that's 37 in this town, they die. They're just gone.
That's a lot of people.
It counts down. So basically what they've done is they've started doing these expeditions over to that area to try to see what they can do to stop, but no expedition group has ever returned. So what happens is people that is like years, either a year before their number is down or whatever, they form a group, go over, because they're like, well, we're going to die anyways, right? So they're trying to further. So as you get over there, you're seeing remnants of other expedition crews before you, because you got to think it's Expedition 33 and there was 99 before you. Well, not 99 before you. It was technically 100. So there's that many more groups that went ahead of you. So you pick up notes and stuff that give you a little bit of context. But then once you get there, things just get crazy. But it's very cool. You usually have, I think your max party that you have is end up 3 characters, I believe. But it's very cool. It's available on Game Pass if you want to check it out. But it's definitely worth checking out for sure.
I believe that is currently, it is. It's the highest rated game of the year so far on OpenCritic.
Yeah, and I think I had mentioned it on last week's episode as well, that the team that did this was 30 people, one being an ex-Ubisoft employee that pitched the idea to Ubisoft. And they're like, nah, I don't want to do that. But anyways, can't say enough good things about it. I think maybe if you mainline it, I want to say it's between 25 and 30 hours, maybe.
That's
if you
not
don't
at all.
No,
I might move that up on the list. I was going to jump into Oblivion pretty soon, but I might do that instead.
Yeah. So I've been playing that. I did watch Minecraft finally. Actually better than I thought. I would rate it right up there with like a Jumanji-like movie. I think I may have actually enjoyed it more than the second Jumanji movie personally.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, it's a good way to describe it. And then per your recommendation, I finished.
I have one quick question about Minecraft.
Yeah.
When they were like not in the Minecraft world, did you not just think you were watching like a Napoleon Dynamite sequel, or like you were in the Napoleon Dynamite universe?
I mean, Jason Momoa's character definitely, he would have been best friends with Uncle Rico.
Oh, 100%.
Just saying.
They probably threw the football over the mountains together.
Yeah, because just like Uncle Rico, he was trying to like relive his glory days, and he definitely peaked a long time ago, but he just doesn't want to believe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He probably also sells Tupperware out of the back of his Trans Am.
I just loved how they still kind of captured like that timeless like Idaho like city just full of like obscure weird people that Napoleon Dynamite did. Like Napoleon Dynamite's cool because like you don't really know when it takes place, but like Kip's on the internet, but it feels very like 80s or late 70s. And I kind of felt the same way about this. Like old arcade games were a big deal, you know, and it was just a fun movie, and it did remind me of like just Napoleon Dynamite, and that I really I liked it. I'm not gonna say I loved it, but I had a good time. I'd watch it again.
Yeah, and
Owen loved it. Best movie he's ever seen, he said.
Oh wow.
High praise.
I honestly didn't think I was gonna, don't get me wrong, like I like Jack Black, but I'm kind of Jack Blacked out with all these video game franchises, to be honest with you. But honestly, I loved his character. I loved his character in this movie. I
He
think
gives
was quite.
110% to everything, man.
He really does. He really does. And then the last thing, per your recommendation, because I think I had alluded that I had started it, but you had said, "Hey, you got to finish it." But I finished the new Spider-Man series, the animated series on Disney Plus, and have to say, really good, top notch. Like it's very good.
Oh yeah.
I love the animation. I love the color palette of that show. Coleman Domingo, you had mentioned earlier, he plays Norman Osborn, and you would never convince me just listening to that character that that's the same person. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's so good. And
he would make a great live action Norman Osborn too, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But I like the story so far. I'm really hoping that it did well enough that we get a season 2.
It's already been renewed.
Oh, has it? Okay,
I think
perfect.
It's been renewed for 2 more seasons.
Yeah, it just really gave me like, this may be a hot take, but it honestly gave me really good cartoon, like Saturday morning cartoon vibes from when I was a kid. Is kind of like what it gave me.
Yeah,
it's like right up there with. Did you happen to watch the X-Men 97?
I didn't, but only because I never watched the original X-Men series.
Well, that that literally takes. What is it?
Do I need to watch the original X-Men series? Because I keep hearing great things about 97.
You could probably watch a recap, but the reason I would say you would need to watch a recap is the events of X-Men 97 is literally a year after the events of the original cartoon show. That's why you would want to watch it. But yeah, can't recommend that show enough. It's very good. And I don't want to say it, but there were some surprise characters that showed up that I was not expecting, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And to hear them talk about the events of things that's already happened, like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in this animated show, I thought was very cool. And then also all the characters are very likable.
It is renewed for seasons 2 and seasons 3. And I want to check one thing real quick because I think my lights just flickered. I think it's gonna be storming here in a minute. So same rules as yesterday.
Yeah.
Let me check. I do want to. It's worst possible time to look this up. Yeah. So one of those characters you brought up, I think, their live action counterpart is who voices.
I looked it up. Yes, it very much does, and I was pretty excited about that. And then the last thing that I forgot to mention that I finished was the season 2 of Andor, and it's so good. Have you watched any of Andor?
I've watched like 4 episodes of season 1. I like it, but man, hour-long shows are just hard to fit in, especially when the wife doesn't want to watch it. So it's just
but I immediately so I finished it a couple days ago, and last night I'm in bed. I'm like, I'm not really tired. I kind of want to watch something, so I just put on Rogue One, because season 2 literally wraps up right up against Rogue One, which is very cool. In Rogue One, and again, this might also be a hot take, but Rogue One is probably one of my favorite Star Wars movies, if not my favorite one.
Nice.
It's just very good. But outside, go ahead.
No. Well, this is Star Wars related.
Okay, go ahead.
So, have you ever listened to the Rewatchables podcast from The Ringer on Spotify?
No, I have not, but I'd be down to know about it.
So basically, it's Bill Simmons. If you're not familiar with Bill Simmons, he's like called the Podfather for a reason. He's got like a whole network of podcasts called The Ringer. Him and a couple of the guys, they do a show called The Rewatchables, where they go back, they rewatch an old movie, they talk about it for like an hour and a half, and they give out awards, right? And they just did Star Wars: A New Hope. And I was driving to Cincinnati this weekend, and I put on that episode, and I noticed it said part 1, and there's 2 parts. And by the time they got to the hour and a half mark of part 1, they hadn't even really started the show. That was just the intro. And they were like, oh my God, we've been talking about this movie for an hour and a half. They did a part 2, and it was like another hour and a half or 2 hours, I think. Right. But that was the best 2 episodes of podcasting I've ever heard. And it was all about Star Wars: A New Hope. And it was just these people from different, you had Bill Simmons, who was like a teenager when it came out. You had Sean Fennessy, who was like our age when it came out. You have a guy named Craig, who was like maybe he wasn't even born when it came out. So you had different perspectives of everyone, how they were introduced to this franchise.
I like
and it was
that.
such
That's
a
cool.
good 3.5 hour journey through Star Wars. And I do highly recommend those 2 episodes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Real quick, and then we'll get into it because I don't want you to lose power. So thoughts on the last episode of The Last of Us. And this can obviously be a spoiler because, the game's been out for forever. So, but I will put a spoiler warning up just in case.
Good call. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I have one nitpick, and that is what I called last week. They showed that crucial final moment between Ellie and Joel way too early. That all
we
but
don't get that
guarantees
till much later on, right?
it's right before she decides not to do something major. I think,
Yeah.
if I'm right. Am I right?
I think so. Yeah, because I just recently played it. Yeah, I think you're right.
So that signals that we're not going to get that moment unless they flash back to that flashback again. But it also means this is truly the end of Joel. We're not going to see him again.
Yeah, and I was
all the flashbacks in one episode.
And I was really surprised. Obviously, when that scene happens that you're referring to, we can kind of dance around a little bit.
Sure.
That scene between them two. Mm-hmm. She walks past, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe this is where it's going to cut, right? Because they could have done that and not played out that whole scene. And then had the flashback be her coming back and then them having the conversation.
Yeah.
They
didn't need to fire that scene off yet.
No. But I'm very curious of how that's going to play later on, which I know you're going to give us a little bit of news around The Last of Us. But I will say that scene between them two, there's been a few moments in the show that I'm like, there's no way that this is going to transition to be as good as it was in the game. But that dialogue between them and Pedro's performance, I have to say, it gave me I have goosebumps just thinking about it. But it was very good. It was very powerful.
Yes.
But I really wish it wouldn't have been in that point in the show.
Yeah, they could have filmed it and just hung on to it for however long they needed to.
Yeah.
You
called it.
I did, and I was afraid. that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now the only comfort I get is that this episode was written by Neil Druckmann and Hallie Gross, who wrote the game Part 2, right? They wouldn't have done this if they didn't know what they were doing. Neil Druckmann is very protective of this property, this universe. So I'm hoping he has something else lined up for us later, but we'll see. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice. I did love the stuff with Eugene.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, I agree. I will tell you the gut punch for me. The flashback we get of his dad and that conversation
with Tony Dalton playing his dad. Oh my God.
And then they circle around, and the last words he tells Ellie is, well, when I hope it's yours, I hope you do better than me. And you're like, oh my God, this is it's just so good.
I mean,
because that scene happened in the game, right?
Yeah,
that flashback or all that. It's just the callback to that in that moment was just so good because when he says that, I'm already thinking about where Ellie is by the end of the game.
Yeah.
And how that plays in later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
remind me, have you watched Better Call Saul?
I actually just had a friend give me so much shit because I've never watched because he was I've not watched any of that stuff. So no.
So obviously it's regarded as 2 of the greatest shows of all time, right?
So I've heard. I might start watching it.
Well, Tony Dalton, who played Joel's dad, plays, in my opinion, maybe a top 3 character of television of all time.
Okay.
He is phenomenal as Lalo Salamanca.
That's not the guy that plays Trevor, is it?
No, that's Stephen Ogg.
Okay, I was going to say, they just kind of look similar.
2 totally different dudes. But I think Trevor's in Better Call Saul, which is funny that you say that.
Okay.
They're both in that.
I had a moment, though. Is that the guy that plays Bella's dad in the Twilight movies?
That I don't know. He was in Hawkeye, the show.
Okay.
as the swordsman guy. I forget.
Yeah. But yes, very good episode. I am very curious to see where it ends.
I
Where
mean,
it
the
ends,
next
which I think
episode,
we know. I think we
Seattle
know
Day
where.
3, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I think we know where it's going to end. And and where it cuts off at the end of that episode, it's just not great.
The next episode's gonna be grim.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to leave people just feeling dead inside when it ends.
Yeah, especially, I mean, without spoiling too much, but two of the people that when the jacket comes off,
Yes.
that's gonna not sit well with people.
No. And they think if people that's not played this game watching the show thinks that Joel's death is the darkest thing that happens in this show, you are in for a ride. Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts, folks. So yeah, we'll talk more about The Last of Us here in a few minutes. But what news do you have for us today?
All right, yeah. So on a lighter note, let's just say that. So SAG, is it SAG-AFTRA? I guess
SAG-AFTRA.
So for those of you that may or may not know, there's been a big thing happening in Fortnite where it's a big Star Wars IP. I think it all started around obviously May 4th, and May the 4th be with you, all that stuff. So there's a ton of Star Wars IP. There's TIE fighters. There's all kinds of cool stuff happening. But one of the
I haven't
things
played any of it. Have you?
I haven't either. I need to update it. I'd really like to try it, to be honest with you. But they actually introduced Darth Vader into the game. But not only Darth Vader, but it's a Darth Vader you can talk to and interact with that uses AI to respond. And a lot of the stuff that you see in the conversations you can have is all flavored in the not only the voice of Darth Vader, but also just kind of the sass and just the overall like what he embodies, right?
Yeah.
Well, they don't seem to think that's too great because they filed some unfair labor practices based off that, and there's for a couple reasons. And I know you're going to add a little bit of color to this as well. But the reason for the action for them filing this is using AI to portray Darth Vader in Fortnite without notice or bargaining with the union. For those of you that may or may not remember, James Earl Jones, just to remind me before we started, he actually signed the rights to his voiceover to be used in future projects, correct?
Correct. Yeah, he sold it for AI specifically, I believe.
Yeah, just so he could still exist, I guess, beyond here. The union stance is it supports the use of digital replicas, but emphasizes that the right to bargain terms and conditions around their use. So they're not saying that digital replicas can't be used, but there needs to be bargaining terms in order to use them. SAG-AFTRA also issued new agreements allowing work on student projects and game jams, and presented a comprehensive AI proposal to employers. So they actually drawed up some new agreements, basically, calling out this thing specifically because it's still kind of a gray area. But yeah, who would have thought that interacting with Darth Vader AI in Fortnite would cause the ruffling of so many feathers.
Yeah.
But you had something interesting to add about Darth Vader, which I did not know.
Yeah. So I actually first heard about this because they had to patch Darth Vader because people found that if you would ask questions that he would restate, but you would use profanity, he would also use profanity. So there are clips, if you want to look them up, of AI Darth Vader, like dropping the F word and things like that. So pretty humorous on how AI can backfire. But yeah, they immediately went into crisis mode and fixed that.
Yeah, especially since how many players are in that game and how many of them are probably under 20 years old? Well, not 20 years old, probably 10 years old, really.
I would say quite a bit, especially now that's back on iPhones, I think, as of today.
Oh yeah, I need to check that actually. Yeah. That's a good call. So obviously it's no secret that we've talked about Nintendo and their game pricing model, right? $80 for digital, $90 for physical. And there's still news coming out that even the physical cartridges are really just contain game codes for you just to download it once you put it in anyways. But with that recent news, some other game developers have come out. So obviously Randy Pitchford, which is with 2K Games. He's the one that's behind the studio head that's behind the Borderlands franchise, which I know we mostly like Borderlands. I got kind of burnt out after Borderlands 2, but that's just me. But gamers have expressed concerns about Borderlands 4 potentially costing $80.
Jeez.
I think once Nintendo decided to pop the top, now it's just fair game at this point, because I think a lot of people was waiting to see what Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to release at, right? But now that's not necessarily a concern because that game is delayed.
Yeah.
But in a statement, I think this is where gamers kind of are a little upset about it. Randy Pitchford stated, the decision on Borderlands 4's price is not his, in that, and this is a quote, real fans will find a way to afford it.
Oh, I don't like the tone of that.
I don't like that either. And he's known to be kind of an asshole at times.
Yikes.
Obviously, the main, I know. Read the room, buddy. But the main concern is obviously fans express a concern about it being $80. Stated that many gamers may not be willing to pay that price. And obviously the public reaction of what Pitchford's comment is he's going to receive a lot of criticism and backlash, especially on social media, because they obviously feel that he's out of touch from reality, right? Especially with all the things that's going on with the economy right now. And some people may refuse to pay that $80. When you think about some games, and the thing is Take-Two is also the studio that's going to be behind the new Mafia game, The Old Country, and they've already announced that game's going to come out at a $50 price point, which makes me excited. But it also makes me wonder, is that game going to be a 10-hour game and it's not going to be a very big game and they don't think they can get more than $50? Oh, okay. It's very linear then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes sense, and I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But also, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, which I talked extensively about earlier, that game came out at, I think it's $40. I don't even think it's 50. I think it's 40.
I don't think
it's 30. I think it's 30.
Be.
It's no more than 50, but I think it's 40. And that's obviously crazy. The quality of that game and everything that's in it, story, graphics, and just the amount of gameplay, because once you get to the end, you can start New Game Plus. And it opens up to be able to do some other stuff too after you beat the story. So the value that you get for that money is just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your thoughts on this? Other than obviously Randy being a little bit of tone deaf.
So I know that there are some diehard Borderlands fans. Emily, who used to be on the show, she loves Borderlands, and I bet when she hears $80, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she's probably fine with it, and she's probably one of the many people who will shell out $80 for this game. I would not. I like Borderlands, I just don't love it. So I think for $80, it's going to do well with that community that they've built, but I do think it's going to turn off people who are like fringe players like myself. I have a few friends who are completely burnt out on Borderlands, but they love a good co-op game. I can almost guarantee you they're not going to shell out $80 for this game. They might wait until it drops to 20 or 30 during like a holiday sale or something. But yeah, for $80, I know it's just like a $10 increase from what we're used to, but like that 8 looks intimidating, And when you start seeing that more and more and more,
it's also the base game is 80. Not even the deluxe, or so you're talking well over probably $90 to $100, because they usually have like 3 different editions. I think by the time
it might be
comes
120
out,
man, for everything.
I know, that's what I'm saying,
if not more. Gosh, we're going down such a crappy path. And like, I've got a friend Greg who sometimes listens to the show, so if he's listening, he might call me on this. But like, sometimes he'll say stuff like, well, video games have been the slowest to increase prices compared to like movies and music and stuff like that. I don't care. Like, I do not care. $60 is still double the price of what a $30 Blu-ray costs. Like, that's insane. And yeah, I know I can maybe get 50 hours out of it, but like, I don't care. Like,
yeah,
don't charge 80, 70. We just jumped to 70 not that long ago.
Well, not only that, but like, if you're going to charge me 80, I should be able to get any DLC that comes out for that game without having to pay for any of it.
They're not going to do that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I mean, they were doing that like 10 years ago.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is I watched an interview with Randy Pitchford, and they were asking him about like what's the plans for DLC, and he like casually just made a joke like, oh, maybe we'll sell you a new mini map design for $5, like making jokes about like microtransactions. And I'm like, God, bro, like just fuck off. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just like such a crummy thing to say.
sounds like he might have like a drinking
And
problem.
then he just like laughed about it. He's like, I'm just kidding. He's like, or am I? I'm just kidding, or am I? He kept saying it like 20 times. I'm like, bro, just stop. Just
That's
stop.
insane. Like, yeah, out of all the times to do that, this is not the time.
No,
Like, come on, man.
absolutely not. Now I know you got some news for us. What do you got?
Yeah, I also added another story on there. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so we just talked about The Last of Us. We're going to talk about it again very briefly. So when season 1 came out, they were like, season 1 will be game 1, and then they said season 2 is probably going to take two seasons, which makes sense. Season 2 is like double the length of the first game, or the second game is like double the length of the first game. Well, now our boy Craig Mazin, the showrunner, is saying today that he might need 3 seasons to tell the story of season 2, bringing the entire show up to 4 seasons. I have a take on this, and that is,
you think they're buying themselves some time?
No, I think don't do that. Don't do 3 seasons, or 3 seasons for the second game. My biggest reason is it takes you 3 years to make a season. No, just make season 3 longer and release it all at once. I just don't have, because I know where season 3 is God, I'm getting my brain twisted up. Season 3 would be the second part of the second game, which is stupid to say this. I know where season 3 should end based on where I think season 2 is going to end. And that means season 4 would likely only be like 4 episodes.
Yeah.
If that, maybe 3, or maybe a movie, you know? So I just don't really see the need for it personally. That being said, I'm not in the writer's room. I'm not on set. I'm not in meetings regarding production. So I don't know anything. But if it's going to take him 3 years to make a season, I just don't. This is going to be like a 10-year journey to get 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Which is insane. No. I mean, God, Ellie's going to be like 40 by the time we're done.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think they're buying themselves more time to get closer to like The Last of Us 3 release?
That's a theory I'm seeing online. And it's possible. It's because that news came out at the same time that there's rumors that Naughty Dog is working on another unannounced game. Which fun tidbit, maybe not so fun. The actress that played Nora in last week's episode is the same actress who's playing the lead character in Intergalactic Heretic Prophecy.
I knew she looked familiar. Are we getting that? We're not getting that game this year, right?
I don't think so. It might be next year. And it might even be later than that now if GTA is coming out. They might push it.
Yeah, because they didn't give us a date on that, did they?
I don't think so. They may have, but I don't think so.
Yeah, man, it would be a great opportunity if they could get it out this year now if there's no competition, like big competition in the fall.
I'm looking it up now, see if there's a date.
I don't think there's any way it'll get here by holidays.
Oh, and this says it won't be released until 2027 at the soonest.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
So they basically just
released that anytime
the
soon.
trailer to make shareholders happy. But yeah, do you want a 4th season of this show?
No, not if, I mean, to be honest with you, 6 episodes was too little this season.
Yeah, exactly. They could have extended a lot. They could make it work in 2 more, I think.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're not in those meetings. We're not on set. We're not in the writer's room. We are nobody to them.
If they do 4 seasons, there better not be a ton of fluff that just doesn't make me care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I also kind of have I know that, like, spoiler alert for The Walking Dead, of all things. I know that, like, when Glenn died, people left that show. I imagine people also left when Joel died. Now, I haven't been tracking the ratings, but, like, I could definitely see that because Pedro Pascal is the most famous man on the planet right now, one of the most likable men on the planet right now, and you just killed him off on one of the most popular shows.
Yeah.
So some people just aren't going to care anymore. They're definitely not going to care for 3 more seasons, 2 more seasons. God bless. My brain is twisted up.
You know what I wonder?
What's that?
I wonder if they're going to spend a lot of time telling you where and how the scars became.
Oh, a scar season.
Because because you don't get any of that in the show. Like, I mean, you kind of understand like why they're following the person, but you don't really get to know like how they formed or any of that type of stuff. So I'm wondering if they're going to spend a lot of time fleshing out the Scars story to make you connect with them a little bit more.
Yeah. Dude, what if instead of a third game, they announced DLC for Last of Us Part 2 that was 10 years or 15 years back and the formation of the Scars?
I mean, I'm not mad at it.
And the Prophet's like still alive.
Should we not belong in the writer's room?
Dude, should we be in the writer's room? Should we just like barge in and just say, hey, Neil, move over. It's our turn.
Yeah. Move over, bozo.
Move over, bozo, you schmuck.
What if we find out that this futuristic game, because evidently this futuristic game coming out is all about religion. So,
it is. Yeah.
Which is
what
pretty,
if that's like a tie-in with the Scars?
That's what I'm saying, dude. But I was reading, I can't remember if I was reading or listening to an interview with him, and he was talking about how he's essentially coming up with his own religion for this game, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That's a scary path to go down.
I know, especially because he's into Scientology anyways. So
who is Neil Druckmann?
Yeah, dude.
I didn't know that.
Oh, bro, look it up. Yeah,
he's the Oh no.
Oh yeah, that's why he said some dicey things, my dude. Are you about to be sad?
Wait, where did you see he was a Scientologist?
Who is it? Neil Druckmann. Who's the other one? Craig Mazin.
Craig Mazin?
Oh, it's one of the two. Yeah.
No, it's neither one of them.
Okay, I may have lied. I don't know.
What are you talking about? You're gonna get sued.
No, you're good. I may have made that up. I'll do further research. I'll let you know. Anyways, why don't you go ahead and tell us about this other story so we can forget about that. I guess I was told that, and I just trusted that person on blind faith. So there's that.
All right, that's funny. Okay, so do you use the PlayStation Stars program?
I have never. I know what it is, but I've never used it.
Dude, check and see if you have points right now.
Okay, I'll do it. You go ahead and tell the story. I'll look.
My God, dude, it's amazing. So, PlayStation Stars is this loyalty program for PlayStation users that you get X amount of points per like dollar spent, and you can redeem it for gift cards or digital collectibles, which nobody does. It's all about the gift cards, and like also games you can just buy and download that way. And it's been really great. I've got a lot of discounts and gift cards by doing this. Well, today Sony announced, being the pro consumer company they are, that they're shutting it down, and users will stop earning points in July of this year. However, you will have until November of 2026 to redeem them. So, yay. Oh, but your digital collectibles will be preserved. You'll still be able to log onto the app and look at your little digital things.
For now.
Yeah. You should definitely check to see if you have any stars, because
do points expire though? That's the real question.
I don't know. I always use them. I don't let them expire.
Well, chances are I probably would have lost them by this.
It's only on the app though, which is like a misfire on their part, like to not have it be on the PlayStation itself or the website. You can only access stars on the app. So if you didn't opt in, you may not have any.
2,400 points,
dude. You can probably get like almost 2 gift cards, I think.
Yeah, it says 2,408 points on level 2, whatever that means.
I'm level 4, dude. Get on my level. You can't. They shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty lame though that they are doing that. I think you can get 2 gift cards though for that. So
okay,
$10.
But I can only redeem it from the app though, right?
Yep.
Okay, well I'll go ahead and do that. I'll leave that up so I don't lose it.
Nice. But yeah, so they're shutting that down. I think that they alluded that there might be another loyalty program, but someone speculated that Sony got mad that basically nobody was redeeming it for digital collectibles and was only doing it for gift cards. So they were like losing money. I guess they thought we really wanted like a digital trophy that only I could see. And I don't.
Yeah, it's not like they're even giving us themes.
Dude, themes.
I know, dude. All right. The last story that I got, and then we'll wrap up, is so why don't you tell our viewers what one of your favorite shows is of all time?
You mean Severance?
I said one of. That's not the one I was looking for.
I know which one you're looking for. You're looking for Lost, my dude.
Yeah, you are. I am looking for Lost, and I will tell you, one of my favorite characters in that show was Sawyer, which is, I love it when a show can take a character that I absolutely hate in the beginning,
Yep.
and by the end of it, I am rooting for this character.
Kind
Same
of
thing,
like The Last of Us.
like The Last of Us, like Loki. The show Loki just totally changed my mind on that character, right?
Yeah.
I just love when a show can do that. Well, anyways, so Sawyer was one of my favorite characters. I don't know if you like Sawyer in the show or not. I didn't want to speak for you, but his story arc, spoiler alert, the way he dies, just so sad. What?
Sawyer doesn't die.
Oh no, but his girl does in the elevator.
What are you doing?
Listen, no spoilers.
I got you. He doesn't.
I know.
He doesn't got her.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
But
anyways,
it's such a great scene.
But the sad truth about this character, the guy that plays this character, Josh Holloway, he actually went on a big dry spell between when Lost wrapped up in 2010, I believe, and until now. So there is a new series that he is in called Duster. And what's cool about this is Holloway, he stars in it. He's one of the main characters. It's a gritty crime thriller set in 1972, which is really cool. But the tie-in here is it's created by J.J. Abrams, which was one of the people that created Lost.
Yep.
So it was very cool for him to think about Josh Holloway for this role. To give you a little bit more context, it follows FBI agent who teams up with Holloway's character, Jim Ellis. He's basically a getaway driver. It definitely gives me Driver vibes at the beginning of this show, which I love. But the getaway driver is played by Josh Holloway, obviously, but it's just really good. It's from things that I've been reading about this show. It's very authentic to the 70s, which is pretty cool. All the cars are authentic from the 70s, just the clothing. It's a very cool looking show. It's very stylized for that time period. But yeah, I thought it was cool that, he's reuniting with Abrams, from that show, but it's been received well by fans. So far, it has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 72 on Metacritic, which is great. But yeah, the career gap was from 2010, and he admitted in an interview that he felt like he was typecast, and that caused his career to slump. He was in a few pilots that weren't picked up and lead roles. Falling through. So I'm really happy to see that the show is being well received, and that he is the one of the leads in it as well. You look like you have something to say.
Yeah, so I'm looking up his IMDb. Yeah, you're right. He did have quite a dry spell here when it came to getting work. He was in Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, but that has J.J. Abrams ties. He also was in a show called Colony that he starred in, which was created by Carlton Cuse, who was one of the showrunners for Lost. And then he was in a show called Intelligence for a while. It looks like it maybe only went a season, where he led that and it didn't do much. I don't see any Lost connections here. But yeah, it does seem most of his work has been propped up by like Lost.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because everything I've seen him in, he does fine in. But maybe just he got typecast where people didn't think he was maybe a lead star. So
I actually don't remember him in Ghost Protocol. Do you?
I don't either. I have no idea what character he would have played, to be honest with you.
Holloway is what it says.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is. But I'm excited for the new Ghost Mission Impossible. It comes out soon.
Yeah.
I think the 30th of May. But yeah, so
he has been on it's Yellowstone, which is a big hit with old people.
Was he in it for a while?
I think like 10 episodes.
Gotcha. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool. I just want to bring this up because I know you're a big Lost fan. I'm a big Lost fan, but I just thought it was really cool that like Abrams and Holloway are back together after 15 years. I thought that was really cool. Do you think this is like a nostalgia casting, or do you think this is smart casting on J.J. Abrams' part?
Probably both. He probably had a vision, and Sawyer does have that kind of gruff, tough guy, but also
he definitely looks like he belonged in the 70s too. When you see him in this show, like, because he still has his long hair just like he did in Lost, I'm like, he just looks like he fits the part.
This is the show I want to watch too. I'm pretty
Yeah,
pumped
and
for
I
it.
thought when I originally watched the trailer, I thought it was a movie, but it's a show. It comes on every Thursday, and there's only one episode out now. So, like, if you watch, I think
Thursday.
yeah, strange time, right?
Weird. That kind of makes me think they're sending it out there to die.
I hope not, because it's good from what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really good. All right, so that is the news. Anything else you want to add? Or are you good?
I'm good, man.
All right, well, let's talk about looking ahead. What are you excited for? You got anything fun happening?
Let me pull up my list here. With the
Did you already
fun.
Did you already go to the beach? Did that already happen?
It's next weekend.
Oh, and you didn't even put that on here. Okay.
I said it last week and I said it too early. I'll save it again for next week.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm looking forward to the Last of Us finale. And by that I mean I'm looking forward to torturing myself.
Yeah.
Not only will it be feel bad vibes, but we're gonna have 3 years to wait before the next one.
Yeah.
To feel even worse.
You better say your final goodbyes to Jesse. Deuces.
Dude, you just spoiled the show. Maybe not.
Nah, we don't know. We don't know.
I love that actor.
I watched him in an interview. I watched him oh yeah, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
Is he his brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great.
God,
I hope
I want another season of that.
They're making one.
It needs to happen already. I felt like that was.
I think it's different characters.
Actors. Though? That would make sense that it's different beefs between people. But the way they ended that show, it makes me want to root for them.
I kind of need to know what happens though, because it kind of ends on a cliffhanger.
It gets wild.
Let me see. Beef season 2. I know we just spun off here. Beef season 2 will feature Oscar Isaac and Carey Mulligan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wish in the beginning though they would do kind of like where are these people now though is what I wish they would.
Where are they now? He's dead.
No. Yeah. All right. Anything else, or is that it?
At the moment, that's it.
When do you go to the beach? What day?
Next Saturday.
So you're gonna have to watch the finale at the beach.
The finale of The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Oh, that's this Sunday. I go next Saturday.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
yeah,
cool. Just making sure.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, excited. Vacation is coming up. Wait, are you gonna be home or at the beach when I'm in?
I'll be in. We talked about this.
Yeah.
I leave on the 31st.
Oh, yeah. So that's why. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So going home to visit my family, my oldest sister, which is funny to say, my oldest sister, which is almost 18, is graduating high school. So going in to watch her graduate, going to try to grab dinner with Justin and J-Rod, as long as his work schedule allows it. But yeah, pretty
those
excited
mountain don'ts finally.
I know. I really wish we could do. I really wish I could do smoked wings at Buddy's. Is what I wish we could do. But anyways,
I had Buddy's today.
You son of a bitch! Every time I see you do an outdoor walk, I always think to myself, "Oh, he's walking to lunch right now."
Mm-hmm. I did get lunch today too. I'll tell you about it when we're not on here.
Okay. And then also, I realized there's a new game coming out called Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, which to some people, they're probably like, who cares? This game sounds stupid. It was one of my favorite 3DS games. Me and my buddy Alex talk about this game randomly all the time. But yeah, this is the follow-up to this. Like, I don't know, what would it be? Like 10 years later, I guess. But yeah, pretty excited about that. It's one of those type of games. It's like a cozy action adventure game. You can go in dungeons, you can have your own character. But the cool thing about this is you have different jobs, anything from hunting to being a wizard to being a cook. And you could like basically just rotate and max all these out and switch between them at any time. It's pretty cool. But it kind of gives you that like Link to the Past vibes. It's like that top down isometric view. But it looks like Animal Crossing essentially.
It's getting good reviews.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it. So that is the things that I am looking forward to. And outside of that, let's talk about our picks of the week and wrap this joint up. What is your pick of the week, good sir?
I'm gonna go with The Four Seasons. I loved it. I thought it was great. I love the cast, love the characters. Cannot wait for a season 2.
Yeah.
8 episodes, 30 minutes each. Super easy to binge.
And I really thought it was cool that every 2 episodes was a season.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I love the little intro that had like each corner would like when it got that season, it would like reveal like what that looks like. You know what I mean?
And
I
there's
don't
like
know
a
if you-
hint of like things that were going to
yeah,
happen.
yeah. One of them had a guitar in it. That poor
Yeah.
guy.
That
That
guy's
poor
weird.
guy trying to find out if he was the one that.
What is his
What's
name?
his face?
Terry?
Yeah,
He's such a Terry.
I know. What did you're such a Carl? Is that what they called him?
Yeah.
When
'Cause
he
he
was
was
bragging about
competitive.
being good at skiing or whatever, and then he tells him that at the grocery store. And at first, when that happened, I was like, "Did that guy kill him for calling him a Carl? What happened?"
That would have been
You know,
nuts.
that's what I'm saying. Maybe that guy ran him off the road. But
Maybe he
anyways,
did.
yeah, we don't know. But yeah, so well, that's a good point. I'm glad that you liked that show enough to recommend it. For me, my recommendation, it was really hard for me to choose, so I'm just going to give you two. First one, Spider-Man, is really good. The action was good. The story was good. The characters are also likable. I love how each intro to the show is different with the comic art that it ends on before the show starts. The cast is great, and then I like the surprise cameo from a couple of other heroes and villains, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
So very very good show. And then my second one is Andor. It's a really good show. It's a Star Wars show that feels really like a heist. Every episode kind of feels like a heist of some kind and espionage, and it's just really good.
Nice.
If you like Rogue One, then you'll
Love it.
probably really like the show. If you don't like Rogue One, you probably will not like the show. And I forgot that the one guy, I can't remember his name. He was in Ready Player One. He's the guy that has like that deep raspy voice that works for the Empire.
Krennic?
Maybe, I don't know.
Is he like the scroll?
Oh, Krennic. Yeah. Yes.
Ben
I really
Mendelsohn.
Yeah, I really like his character and I really like his role. And I had forgot that he was in Rogue One until I started watching it last night. I was like, it's perfect. He just carries in all the way through because I forgot he was in it. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, but outside of that, that is my picks. Do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, that does it for this episode of Nerds and Bikes. It's been episode 179. Want to thank you for listening. Just please make sure to like, subscribe. Make sure you leave us a comment below, and we'll discuss and read it if you have a topic, or if you just want to comment on something we've talked about today. If you want to tell us that we're full of shenanigans for the things we said, that's fine too. But until next time, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Nerds with Mics. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into all things nerdy, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please make sure not to forget to leave us a review wherever you listen or watch. Your feedback always helps us grow. And if you know a fellow nerd that would love the show, share it with them. Until next time, stay nerdy, stay awesome, and keep those mics on.